Hello, it's Rachel here again. This time I want to make a hopefully brief video about what's happening in Spain. As those who are probably subscribed to my channel will know, that in Spain the Spanish Association of Victims of Jehovah's Witnesses was taken to court by the Jehovah's Witnesses. In 2019, the Spanish Association was set up, and they gave the secretary of the association gave a presentation to the media, I believe. It's 30 minutes long, and he talked about some of the damaging aspects of Jehovah's Witnesses, including the shunning and the hiding of child sexual abuse perpetrators and the way they deal with allegations. So anyway, and of course you probably know that the Jehovah's Witnesses took exception to them calling themselves victims of Jehovah's Witnesses. But I think it was, the courts upheld their right to be called victims because it was their opinion, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. But anyway, so what's happened, the Jehovah's Witnesses decided to take 3 leading members of the association to court. We've got the president, who is, first name is Israel, and the secretary, who is Enrique, and a third person, I believe his name's Gabriel. I think he's involved with the media side of the association, and also a 4th case against the association as a whole. So I've been trying to glean information as best I can by watching discussions in Spanish with the subtitles or captioning turned on, so it's not perfect, and I've watched a few hours worth of discussions between mainly Enrique, the secretary, and Israel, and Carlos Bardavío, who's the lawyer for the association, and various Spanish ex-JW YouTubers. So it's been kind of hard to follow, and I'm just waiting for when a Spanish-speaking, English-speaking person can report on it for us accurately, because I can't guarantee that what I'm going to tell you is 100% accurate, because I'm just trying to work it out from reading the auto translate. So anyway, what appears to be the case at this point is that 3 of the cases have been heard. The only one that hasn't had a date set for yet is for Gabriel, and the verdicts or sentences have only been passed on 1 so far, and that's Enrique, the secretary. So Enrique was the one that actually gave the 30-minute presentation that the Jehovah's Witnesses took issue with, and I believe they were claiming $1, well, whatever their currency is there in Spain, a certain amount per minute of that presentation. And what they also were demanding, that the video of that presentation be removed from YouTube. So that was what their demands were. And some people are confused when they hear about Enrique receiving a sentence, and at the same time they hear that it was a victory for the association. Well, it was a victory in the sense that the Jehovah's Witnesses didn't get what they wanted. The video will remain up, and the judge did not find any issue with 29 minutes of the presentation that Enrique gave. The only thing he took issue with was his use of 2 words, and those 2 words are dangerous sect. I think in that part of the world, when they're talking about a sect, they are thinking more of in terms of what we would think of as a cult. which is why being called a sect or a dangerous sect is quite offensive to the Jehovah's Witnesses. So Enrique has been, so the judge found that everything that Enrique said in his presentation, aside from those two words, were a matter of freedom of expression, and that they were just his opinion. He wasn't accusing Jehovah's Witnesses of anything criminal, and so it was just his expressing himself, expressing his opinion. And so, as Carlos, the lawyer, says, they were 90, I think he said 90, the ruling of the judge was kind of like 97 or 99% in their favour, because it was only those two words that were an issue. However, before I go on, I'll just say that the fine that has been imposed on Enrique is 5,000, whatever it is. But in one of the discussions I listened to, they said that was equivalent to 5 months of wages. So it's still quite a significant amount of money. And Carlos, the lawyer, thinks that's very unreasonable, and he will be appealing that fine and arguing that Jehovah's Witnesses can be classified as a sect by the strict meaning of the word sect, and that they are in fact dangerous by the judge's own admission. The judge apparently during Enrique's trial acknowledged that ostracism or shunning is dangerous. It's dangerous to the mental health. It causes mental illness. So he acknowledged that it's harmful, that it's dangerous. So how can he then fine Enrique for saying that the sect of Jehovah's Witnesses is dangerous when he's already acknowledged that it is? So these are the kind of arguments I think Carlos will be putting forward in the appeal. So I really hope that's successful. So getting back to Carlos Bardavío, and I'm sorry if I've pronounced his name wrong or not very well. He's actually a cult expert, and he's written 2 books in Spanish, mainly on the criminal sort of side of cults. So he's very knowledgeable about the way cults work and the coercive nature of cults. Yeah, and he seems very passionate about it, because he makes himself available for hours and hours to discuss it on various SAVJW YouTube channels. So yeah, he's quite passionate about it. I looked up his law firm, and it's called Bardavío, I'm going to pronounce it wrong probably, Abogados, which means lawyers. And one of the things they do is they are specialist lawyers in religious and conscience freedom. I guess this, what I'm reading from their website, has been translated into English, so it's probably not perfect. It says here that the firm Bardavío Abogados has extensive experience in the defence of the rights of citizens and denominations in the exercise of religious freedom and or freedom of conscience. The right to religious freedom and or freedom of conscience is a fundamental right of individuals and human groups. We are specialists in the defence of the free daily exercise of religious, conscientious or ideological convictions in administrative, civil, labour and criminal matters. The managing partner of the firm, which is Carlos, has published 2 works. The first of them, his doctoral thesis, which is called Cults in Criminal Law, Dogmatic Study of Sectarian Offences. That was in 2018, which analyses the behaviours of the perpetrator of conscience, perpetrator by conviction, criminal sects and sectarian crimes. A pioneering work on sectarian crimes in Spain. The second publication is the book Criminal and Coercive Sects in Mexican Criminal Law, Comparative Legislative and Dogmatic Treatment of Coercive Persuasion and Legislative Proposal. So that was published this year, where he examines the phenomenon of cults or coercive groups from a criminal legal perspective, both works published in Spanish. He has also published numerous scientific articles and participated in various national and international conferences. So he's kind of a leading voice in the area of sects and coercive control. And I noticed on their website, which I'll put a link to below in the description, on there they have a section, latest from the blog and presence in the media. And there was a very interesting article posted there from the National Geographic, which I'll post that separately in the link below as well, I think. And Carlos is actually quoted in this article, and it kind of tells you a bit about the situation in Spain with regards these sects and coercive control and the kind of laws that exist to try and counteract the sects. And he also sort of briefly talks about laws in France and Belgium, and how even though there are the existence of some laws to counteract cults, they're not terribly effective. There's a lot still to be understood about the way cults actually work and affect people. But he seems to be at the forefront in Spain with doing this, so it's quite a good website to go and check out. So on the matter of, I was just thinking when I was listening to their discussions on these live streams, how the word sect in Spain seems to be, or the thought of what a sect is, seems to be interchangeable with what we in other countries may think of as a cult. Because we're well aware that Jehovah's Witnesses refer to all the churches of Christendom as being sects. And it made me wonder if in their literature in Spanish, whether they actually refer to them as sects, because it contains that connotation of something being a cult, so more of a derogatory term. But I looked in the Spanish New World Translation of the Bible and found that in 2 Peter, actually I've got it, I'll read it from here. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 1, it says, "There will also be false teachers among you. These very ones will quietly bring in destructive sects." And in the Spanish, it has the Spanish word for sects there. I think sectors or something like that. So they have the word sect in their own Spanish Bible, preceded by the word destructive, which is very similar to dangerous. And I was looking up on jw.org for, do they still refer to the churches of Christendom as being sects? And it doesn't seem to be so much lately. But back in 1983, there was a Watchtower article. So Watchtower 83, September the 15th. And the article was called "Quietly Bringing in Destructive Sects." And there in paragraph 1, it says all the churches of Christendom originally were sects. Some of these, notably the Church of Rome and the national churches of Orthodoxy and Protestantism, claim primacy over the other so-called Christian denominations, which they contemptuously call sects. These historical facts have been presented in the 2 preceding articles in the Watchtower. And then going on to the subheading in the article, destructive sects at the time of the end. In the original Greek, Peter's expression destructive sects literally means sects of destruction. This expression is doubly significant. The sects and churches of Christendom have proved to be destructive of pure Christianity, the way of the truth. They are also sects of destruction in that their false teachers are bringing speedy destruction upon themselves and upon those who follow their acts of loose conduct. Peter adds, "But as for them, the false teachers, The judgment from of old is not moving slowly, and the destruction of them is not slumbering. Such speedy destruction will come upon them at the fast approaching great tribulation. So I'm kind of wondering, the Jehovah's Witnesses took offence at being called a dangerous sect, but in their literature over decades they have called the churches of Christendom sects, destructive sects, and talking about them being false teachers, etc. So this is their opinion. This is their freedom of religion, their freedom to express their beliefs, that according to their interpretation of the Bible, that Christendom churches are sects. So my question is, why can't Enrique from the Association of the Victims, can his comments about the Jehovah's Witnesses being a dangerous sect not be looked at in the same light, that this is his interpretation of the scripture? You know, that in his view, the Jehovah's Witnesses are a dangerous or destructive sect. So we'll see. I know Carlos is going to be arguing in court on those, definitions of sect and dangerous, and how it's inconsistent for the judge to acknowledge that shunning is dangerous and then fine Enrique for saying that they are. So we'll see what happens there. It's going to be very interesting. So something else I just wanted to mention that I found when I was looking at Carlos's law firm's website, actually linked in the National Geographic article, which is in that website, and it mentioned a new TV series that's been shown on Disney Plus, and it's called, I'll see, I posted something about it, too many things to remember. It's called 548 Days Captured by a Sect, and it's like a documentary series that follows a young woman in Spain who apparently joins a sect over social media and then moves over to Peru. And I think the series is about her family trying to track her down, find her. And Carlos Bardavío, did I say that right? I think he was involved in providing some background into this series, and it is in Spanish, but you can turn your captioning on and read it in English. So I'm going to start watching that tonight because it sounds very, very interesting. So lots of interesting stuff coming out of Spain, and I'm not sure how far away we'll hear a verdict on the other two cases that have been heard, but it's going to be very interesting to watch. Anyway, I think I've mentioned everything that I was going to. And please, if you know anyone who is a Spanish speaker who also speaks English and can perhaps give us a more accurate commentary, please let me know. Anyway, I'll say goodbye for now. Bye.